All right, today we're diving into something that really stretches the limits of what we think is real. We're going to talk about the idea that your consciousness, your very sense of self, might not be stuck inside your body. And we're going to use Robert Bruce's incredible book, Astral Dynamics, as our guide to unpack the out-of-body experience, not as some kind of fantasy, but as a skill that can actually be learned.
So let's just kick things off with this one huge question. I mean, really think about it for a second. What if everything that makes you, isn't permanently hardwired into your brain? What if your awareness could actually move around, explore, and see the world from a place completely outside of your physical body?
That, right there, is what we call an out-of-body experience, or an OBE. Now, the whole point of Astral Dynamics is that this isn't some rare mystical thing that only happens to a chosen few. No, Robert Bruce's entire argument is that this is a natural human potential. It's a skill, and like any other skill, it can be learned and developed with the right approach.
Okay, so that immediately brings up a pretty obvious question, right? If this is something we can all do, why don't more of us remember doing it? Well, according to Bruce, the answer is this absolutely fascinating theory he calls the mind split. And this idea is the secret key to understanding why these experiences are so dang hard to recall.
So here's how the mind split theory works. Imagine your consciousness makes a perfect carbon copy of itself. The original, which he calls the physical mind, stays behind with your body. But here's the catch. It usually just goes to sleep or zones out. At the same time, the copy, the projected double, is the one that actually leaves and has this amazing out-of-body adventure. Because your physical brain is basically offline, it's not recording any of it. It's like two people living through the same moment with zero awareness of each other.
And Bruce had this wild experience that proved the theory to him. One night during a thunderstorm, he tried to project. He thought he'd failed and was just sitting in his chair, but he'd actually managed to keep his physical mind awake. All of a sudden, he sees his own projected double float back into the room and merge with him. For just a few seconds, he was hit with two completely separate sets of memories for the exact same time period. He remembered sitting in the chair, and he remembered flying around in the storm outside. Mind-blowing stuff.
So, if the mind split explains what's happening, how do you actually do it? This is where the book gets really practical. It lays out a whole system of energy work, which are basically the tools you need to get started on this journey. And this isn't about just believing in it, it's about doing the exercises.
And this is where Robert Bruce's approach is kind of a game changer. You know how so many meditation or spiritual practices require you to have this perfect, crystal clear visualization in your head? Well, Bruce says, forget all that. For a lot of us, that's just frustrating. His whole system is built on something we can all do, using your sense of touch. He calls it tactile imaging. It's all about feeling, not seeing.
So how does it work? It's surprisingly simple. First, you just focus your awareness, not your eyesight, but your feeling of awareness, on one tiny part of your body, like your big toe. Then, you imagine a gentle motion with that point of awareness, like you're brushing or stirring that spot from the inside. You don't try to see it, you just intend to feel it. And when you start to notice a tingling or a warmth or a buzzing, that's it. According to Bruce, that's real feedback. That's you making direct contact with and stimulating your own energy body.
Okay, so let's say you've practiced the energy work, you've gotten the hang of it, and one night, it works. You're out. So where do you end up? The first stop is a place Bruce calls the real-time zone. Think of it as an almost perfect copy of our physical world, just vibrating at a slightly different frequency.
And in this place, the rules of physics get a complete makeover. You're not actually affected by gravity anymore, but you still have to consciously break the habit of being pulled down in order to fly. You can learn to just float right through solid walls. People often report this really strange thing where they look at their hands and watch them appear to just melt or dissolve. And maybe the craziest part, to get somewhere, all you have to do is think about it and you're instantly there.
Now, I gotta be real with you, it's not always just smooth flying and superpowers. There are definitely some common challenges and, fears that pretty much everyone runs into at first. But once you get past those hurdles, a whole universe of possibilities opens up.
And this is the big one, isn't it? The question that stops most people in their tracks. Is it safe? What about all this scary stuff I've heard? Fear is, without a doubt, the single biggest roadblock. So, let's just tackle that directly.
What's so important here is that, according to the book,
All of these scary things are totally predictable and they have explanations. That feeling of intense vibrations or your heart pounding out of your chest, that's just a normal part of the energy body separating from the physical. Hearing weird sounds, loud bangs, or even voices, it's just an audio illusion as your brain switches gears. And even this classic scary thing called the dweller on the threshold, this menacing figure people sometimes see, Bruce argues it's just an illusion created by your own fear. It has no real power. The point is, once you know what to expect, these things stop being terrifying and they just become signposts along the way.
And that's key. Because once you learn to navigate those initial challenges, you find out that the real-time zone is just the beginning. It's like the lobby. Beyond that lies a vast, multi-layered reality known as the astral planes. This is where things get really interesting. A whole universe shaped by thought and consciousness itself, just waiting to be explored.
So, what we've really learned here is that the out-of-body experience, at least according to this framework, isn't just some random weird dream. It's a structured process. There are principles like the mind split, and there are practical skills like tactile imaging that you can actually develop. It really changes the whole conversation. The ultimate question isn't really if we can leave the body, but what we might discover about ourselves and consciousness itself if we do. If this topic has captured your interest and you'd like to dive deeper, the book is called Astral Dynamics by Robert Bruce.